Hello, Monarch fans, and welcome back to the Hudson Homers podcast. Joined as always by CB and Coach Finny, becoming a regular here on the Hudson Homers podcast. We have a couple other folks that will be joining us here shortly to talk a little bit more about the team, the pitching, the analytics, and then, of course, the upcoming series that is like 2 days away at Georgia Tech. But, Coach Finny, how's your week been?
Well, cold and rainy, like everybody else is around here. You know what, though? It started out pretty good. Actually, the finish of last week, we were able to have a number of good practices. And then all three of our scrimmages, inter-squads, we got all the innings in over the weekend and got those starter pitchers out there for 5 innings each. So, CB was there on Sunday for some of the last ones. So, we've had to kind of grind it out around some of these weather patterns, but we have gotten our scrimmages in, we've gotten our work in. This week's been not as much on the field because of the rain and cold, but, the guys probably needed a little bit of rest anyway. I think coming off 4 or 5 really hard days, and, that's never a bad thing. We'll get down to Georgia Tech tomorrow evening and practice on the field and, get used to the surroundings and, work some of the trip out of us and get some work in, and then batting practice on Friday, and then play the game. And, it's that time, man. I always get this time of the year and tell the guys, say, man, ever since August, you guys are doing all this hard stuff, weights and conditioning and early mornings and in the cold, and this is why you do it. And so enjoy it, embrace it. It's going to be a unprecedented journey this year, and just it's going to be a lot of fantastic memories, and go play like your hair's on fire, man, and represent the school well and your teammates and your family.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that it is already here for baseball season. I know I'm excited about it. It's been circled on my calendar for quite a few months now. But CB, how was your weekend? And are you upset about the Super Bowl outcome?
It's whatever. I don't like seeing Eagles fans happy, but that's like 2/3 of our baseball team.
Yeah.
So Kyle Edwards he's probably been obnoxious all week. He was obnoxious Sunday before the game out there.
Yeah.
But in the best way, because we love Kyle. But I did get to go out there on Sunday and see the guys play, and saw some great stuff. Blake Morgan looked really good in the innings I saw. Kanan George, it sounded like hadn't had a hit the whole early practice, but he had like 4 of them on Sunday. So I guess I just needed to come out and bring some mom's cookies for him.
That's what it was. That's exactly what it was. Lois's cookies got him off the snide. So that was good to see. He's been working and it's coming, and just wasn't having a lot of success in the scrimmages, but you could see him starting to come around. It was good for his mind, I think, to get some hits on Sunday going into the opener. So confidence is an amazing thing with college, with anybody and everything, right? But with college athletes in particular, when they feel good about themselves, they play a lot better. And, when they don't, they don't. And that's just the way it's always been. So him getting some confidence going into the season is big for us, because he's a guy that we're going to depend on. He's going to be a big run producer for us.
Now, CB, you caught some baseball, but you also caught some other things that I think our fans would love an update on. You got some pictures of the deconstruction going on at the ballpark. So if you are listening to us, let's see if I can get these pulled up here. If you're listening to us, hop over to YouTube, because you definitely want to take a look at some of the pictures here that CB has set up for us. If I can get it to go at the same time, that would be fantastic. Here we go. So it looks like we got some pretty good destruction that has been going on over at the Bud before the new.
Yeah, that's where
starts.
that was the clubhouse. Is that gone? Yeah. So is that the door and the dugout just open to nothing now?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
That's cool, isn't it?
Then you can see right there. That's where the concession stand and then the bathrooms. And you can see right through to the field.
Yeah. And now, right there, that shot behind home plate, they've actually started digging underneath, like that ground is tore up. So they're getting into the underneath work with utilities and water and plumbing and all of those sorts of things that they have to end up going out into the street to connect to. So they're getting into all of that, this week. The weather's put them a little bit behind this week, obviously.
I'm really impressed at how it's got to be so hard to leave the pole there, the structure pole, and get through. I mean, that's impressive.
Oh, there's no doubt I would have put an excavator or something right through one of those poles and brought the whole thing down on my head.
Yeah, those guys can make that thing dance, man.
Yeah.
They've also today I noticed that back wall of the press box is gone.
Yeah, I forgot to get a good picture of the front of the press box.
It's basically just in small pieces now up there. And then they took all the bleachers down off the decking there.
Oh yeah.
Area. So they
the outside fence is all gone too.
Yeah, and that's right. The outside fence. Yeah. So they're going to demo next week the backstop and the part of the sides of the backstop where the closets, kind of those closets next to the dugout are. That's all getting demolished.
Wow.
The angles on those will change. So that's coming down next, and then that's when the backstop net and everything's coming down. Those blue poles that you see in this picture on each side, that the wire holds backstop net, those are coming down as well. So
they're where your offices are. That's going too, right?
Well, that building's actually not coming down. That building's being renovated, so it'll be gutted on the inside and repurposed. But it's not that building. That structure is. Okay. It won't look like that, but it's going to be different.
All right.
Yeah. Well, there was one more photo CB captured that I wanted to ask you about, and it's this one with the hat.
Yeah, the camo practice hats. We broke those out last week. They finally came in. We ordered them in the fall, and they sent them, and they were screwed up. The OD was not properly put on there, so we sent them back, and we finally got them back. So I think they turned out pretty cool. We can't wear them in the games because they don't have the Under Armour logo on them. The game makes them, but they're fine for practice.
Okay, so practice hats, nice.
Yeah.
I was mentioning that we had the jerseys back in like 2013.
Yeah, we had the old camo, navy camo. That's right, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I got excited when I saw those. I was like, "Is there a chance we might see those on the field?" But the Under Armour deal, I get it. I know.
Yeah, I don't think we're allowed to. Maybe we could sneak it in. You never know.
You just get
sneak it in and ask for forgiveness. You go through a losing streak or something, you pull out all the stops, right?
Hey, I will Photoshop Under Armour logos on them.
You just need a box of white Sharpies and someone who can draw pretty well, and then you're covered. Man.
That has been done before. That has definitely been done before. I guarantee that, without a doubt. So
don't look too closely at cleats on a football field. I'll say that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people tend to do that a lot in those sports. So
yes. All right. Well, we have a couple other guests joining us tonight. It is going to be a full house, but Finny, we're glad to bring on a good bit of your coaching staff. I'll have you kind of talk about them a little bit here, but we have Ryan Moore, Paul Panik, and a very familiar name for anyone listening last year, Brandon Pond. So I'm going to bring them on in now. How's it going, guys?
Doing well.
Good. They're back.
What's up, guys?
They didn't leave. Yeah. Sorry for keeping you guys in the back room. For a while. So, yeah, well, we're really excited to get these guys on here. These are our new faces to our coaching staff. Two of them are not new faces to Monarch fans. Ryne was such a fantastic pitcher for us. Graduated and finished his career here at 21. Arguably got the win in probably the biggest baseball win in Old Dominion history. One of the gutsiest performances I've ever seen a college pitcher make, and he had a lot of them in his career here. So That's saying a lot. We're so happy he finished up his pro career with the Brewers and decided to come give us a chance to, help him get into coaching. So we're really happy he's here. Brandon Pond finished up his career last year after transferring here from Lynchburg College. He won a Division III national championship with them, and did a fantastic job for us last year in a number of different roles. And people that went to the Harbor Park game will remember he got the start in that game, which was a cool thing from a memory standpoint, I'm sure. And we beat the University of Virginia there. Paul Panik, his first year here, he comes to us most recently from William and Mary, is the hitting coach and recruiting coordinator there. And Paul's, got a great background. He's been a head coach at the Division I level. He's been an assistant coach. He's been at a lot of places working for a lot of good people. And we were happy to get him over here from Williamsburg. And he's fit right in, man. Paul's a great guy. He's a hell of a coach and working with our catchers and hitters. And it's been a lot of fun getting to know him and his family in his short time here so far. So I'll let you guys have at him a little bit. And, we're real happy that they're here with us tonight.
I got to first just point out the collection of awesome hats that we have on this podcast right now. Because we got like the old running monarch, we've got the old school circle running monarch logo. Then of course, Finny, you got our hat on, but
I got a gray one.
Yeah, it's not a baseball hat, but I got the retros. We got to get Ryne hooked up with a hat here soon.
I got plenty of them. I'm just not a big hat guy.
Yeah. I'd say Ryan's hair is too good to wear hats.
Yeah.
Got the good hair, so he's showing off.
Yeah. Well, I know one of the topics that fans always ask us about is like the analytics behind the approach to pitching. And I feel like sometimes it's explaining blackjack strategy to someone who's never played blackjack before, like hitting on 16s versus 10s and all those fun, exciting things. But we'd love just a rundown of like what analytic systems you're using, how you're processing the data, and how you're just taking that and applying to what you're doing on a game-by-game basis.
Yeah, so obviously we have the TrackMan and the Edgertronic camera that we use pretty much on a daily basis. And then we also use a stat file. So we track every single pitch that's thrown in a game or scrimmage, and it pops up on a nice website for us and organizes it all. So we just basically break down that stuff and use that for, whether to make changes with guys, because it's all based on like performance. If performance isn't there, then we'll use that stuff to make a change, or health. That's another big one. So yeah, we kind of just go through that daily and just check up on guys and see what changes need to be made, what's performing well, what's not, and how we attack it for the next week.
So I always think a big thing with the pitching stuff, and you correct me if I'm wrong because I'm just some dude, is like looking at guys and saying, hey, when you throw your fastball, you're more successful. When you throw your curveball, when you pitch off your fastball, is that the kind of stuff that you guys are looking at?
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely part of it. Guys' usage on all their pitches. There's a lot more that goes into it than that, but that's definitely a big piece. When they're throwing those pitches, like what count, just gaining count leverage and what they're going to be in the zone with, what's going to get swing and miss. So.
Are you able to track things like, sorry, Gary, are you able to track things like if you see if they're kind of losing velocity within a game and also maybe kind of over the course of weeks, and those are kind of indicators you use to say, well, maybe it might be an injury or some kind of problem in delivery?
Yep. We have another system like the arm care units that kind of measure health for the most part. And then on our website that we have that pulls from all the data, it has like trends and everything. So you can kind of toggle the dates and go back and forth and see what's changed over weeks or months or from year to year. So.
Yeah, we also do a tremendous amount of video, just like daily, in-game bullpens. We have shared albums for our guys where we dump video in, so we can kind of see how the delivery fluctuates like over a period of time when they're at their best, and then maybe when they're not, and kind of compare those and see how we can get back to that good delivery and healthy delivery.
Yeah, I think it's awesome too with the shared albums. We have them dump their grips in, so they take like pictures and videos of their grips. And some guys just like over time they get away from what's working without even knowing it. So like it happened with Sulpizio Peasy the other day. Like he had a little something come up in his arm in the fall where he couldn't throw for a little bit, but coming back through rehab, like he had changed his sinker grip without even realizing it. And like we weren't killing enough vert, which is just like getting it to actually sink. And we're like, Peasy, like what happened, man? So like we went back and checked his grips from September that he dumped in, and it was just a completely different grip. So it's like, hey man, like let's just go back to this, and it was there the next day. So
That's not like the old days, huh, Finny?
No.
I was gonna say it's mind blowing how detailed you can get on that. We're even looking at, maybe you're a centimeter off on your grip, and that's causing the spin rate, the velo, and all of those problems. It's wild that you all have the ability to kind of go in and adjust that on just a very short turnaround time of like a game or even in game.
Yep. Yeah, we were joking around. We were thinking about maybe even like assigning numbers to seams on balls, so we can like be like, you're here with this finger on seam number this, and kind of like breaking down the ball that way.
So we start shagging fly balls that have numbers written all over, and we know what's going on, right?
And tell them a little bit about that Edgertronic camera, guys, because that's something your average baseball fan has no idea what that is, but it's really neat and super valuable.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, we just put it behind the. You can put it anywhere, but for the most part, we use it to put it just behind the pitcher, and it zooms in on their hand, and it's like a slow-mo video of how they're releasing the ball, and that's like we can use the TrackMan and what the numbers say to like kind of guess what we need to how we need to cue them to get the result we're looking for, like numbers wise on the TrackMan. But it's another thing to actually be able to see, because some guys can be like, I am doing that, like I'm doing what you're telling me to do, and then you go show them on the slow mo camera, and it's like, well, you need to go over the top then with that feel, because like you're not quite getting there. So it's like just being able to see the seam orientation and like the axis of the ball like coming out of their hand, just how that correlates to shapes and what they're feeling versus what it actually looks like. So
I feel like it's similar to a golf swing. If you're just doing something a little bit different, maybe at the top or somewhere in your release that you may not even be conscious that you're doing, that's kind of the level of detail. It's amazing to see that in college baseball. I know we get it a lot in the pros, but pretty cool that we have that technology at our fingertips these days.
yeah.
So Paul, I mean, so you're focused more on the hitters. What kind of equivalent things do we have going on with hitting?
Well, so we use some of the stat file stuff like that at the pitchers use, right, kind of to kind of opposite scout our guys, right? See how they perform against certain pitches, different locations, and kind of some of that stuff. Now, we don't really have any of the fancy cameras and some of that stuff. We're still a little more meat and potatoes, a little more old school, right? But for us, it's really about just making sure we put the guys in a spot to be successful against what the pitchers are going to see, and and they kind of understand their strengths and their weaknesses, right? So that's just what Hage and I kind of really kind of focus on with them.
Yeah, and we usually have what's called the aware camera system, which is a video. It's always on. It's at the stadium. It's a shot from behind home plate. It's a shot from center field. It's a shot from the open side of the hitter and the closed side of the hitter. So you get 4 different angles, and then there's also one that faces the mound from the open side and the back side. And so pitchers and hitters have the ability to view them from all of those angles. Now, this year with the stadium construction, we had to take all of those down. We also have one in the bullpen and in the cages. So we still have the ones from the bullpen and the cages live. Is that right, guys?
Yeah, the center field one is live as well.
And center field. So we still have one of the views on the field, and the views from from the cages and bullpen as well. So we got a little bit, not what we normally have, but that's very helpful as well.
And it's worth pointing out for the people listening, this stuff isn't free and it's not cheap.
No, it's not.
Donate to the baseball team.
Yeah.
They need your money, especially they're going to spend a lot of money this year traveling around. Donate
Well,
to the baseball team.
To your point, CB, how much is that Edgertronic camera, guys? Like, it's something a lot.
Yeah, it's not a little amount. I don't know. I'm not sure the exact price.
It's every bit of, what is it, 25?
I'm gonna guess 20 grand. I think around 20,
Yeah.
25 grand.
Yeah, and then the TrackMan, that's another 35. The Wear Systems, another 15. I mean, probably for all of the data and analytics and video that we use, it's well over, probably $75,000 worth of stuff. And that's not in our budget. That's money we had to go raise. We had one alum who basically donated the Edgertronic to us, which was, huge. We've had it for a couple of years now. It's made a huge difference. So, none of that stuff is free, as you said.
Yeah. And reality is, Paul, you're the recruiting coordinator, unless I'm incorrect. Everybody else has got it. Everybody you're trying to fight with to get good ball players has it. And, as you have the proliferation of these things throughout baseball, kids are going to have it in high school, and they're not going to want to go to a college that doesn't have that kind of equipment to help them continue to develop. So
Right.
it's essential.
Yeah, because it becomes kind of the minimum standard, right? So a lot of the high schools, especially in Northern Virginia and such, a lot of them have started getting the Aware system themselves, right? So kids that are used to certain things, and it becomes a necessary evil that, like, hey, like we got to keep up with it. Now it's good for our guys, but we got to make sure that, new stadium, everything, that we keep up with the Joneses, essentially, right? You never want to fall behind in that aspect of it too.
We're going into, I think, a different phase of college baseball too, with the roster limit expansion, scholarship expansions. Like, it's not going to be 11.7 really after this year. It's going to grow a lot. So CB is right. Donate to the baseball program for sure, whether it's travel, TrackMan, all of these systems, but also just remember that, we need to be above 11.7 at some point, because other schools we compete with are going to be above that from a scholarship standpoint too. So I'll continue that plug to go to ODAF there on that for sure.
Yeah, if you see anyone involved in baseball, just hand them a $5.
Well, we'll have dollars for dingers rolling on the next episode after the first 3 games of Georgia Tech. It's a little bit, but goes a long way and gets more people looking at the program and interested in kind of investing in it as you grow. I mean, it's going to look like a different world next season with the new stadium and everything else. But on that topic, you're talking a lot about the data and the analytics and different video systems. With the majority of your season being on the road this year, how are those capabilities impacted by basically being in other teams' ballparks for most of the year?
Well, I know that most stadiums that we play in. I mean, we play a lot of really high-end opponents, and most of them do have the TrackMan systems, right? We have the True Media, which is kind of our scouting database, online kind of software, and then they pull down games, and then we work through that. So the travel won't be as bad. We'll be able to keep our stat file and all the TrackMan stuff. The pitchers will still be able to have all that. It's just be a little bit more work, because it's not as easy when you're at home, right? You know exactly where it is. You punch it in, send and go. There's just gonna be a couple more hurdles and steps that we got to do, but it should still be pretty smooth. But again, as I say, the plan's great until you get punched in the face, right? So until something goes wrong, and then you got to figure it out. So, but the boys in the shop, the pitching crew, and they're awesome with the stuff. So they'll be able to keep things rolling.
That kind of sharing of the data from the home team, is that a standard mandatory thing, or just kind of we all do it because we're not trying to be jerks?
So, well, now it's taken a different kind of slant. If you're a TrackMan school, you get the data, right? Is that correct? I mean, it's just there.
Yeah, from what I'm not really sure, but what I've heard from Marin is, like, you basically sign up to where if teams come and play it's like a kind of a trade-off. Like, you get it on the road if you give it to the team that's coming to play you at home.
Yeah, and then the video just is up there. Same thing. Synergy True Media, it's there available for you. So you pay for that privilege basically.
Okay.
So it's much easier than it used to be. And what that's done to scouting reports is there's a lot less having to call around. You know, you're using the TrackMan data, the True Media data, Synergy data, the video, and it's a little, you're not going in as blind as this guy. This guy said this guy can't hit a fastball. Well, his guy pitching was throwing 96. Yeah, he can't hit that fastball. Our guy's throwing 86. So when he throws that first fastball and he hits it out in the road, you're like, what the hell? We have a little bit more feel for that part of it.
Yeah. Brandon, got a question for you, a little off topic of this, but you're kind of going through the transition period now, going from just playing to now moving into that coaching role. What's that experience been like for you so far?
It's been great. I mean, obviously, it's been a little challenging because there are guys that I played with that are some of my closest friends. But just kind of having that coach player relationship now has been a little different. But it's been really fun. It's been really fun to see my work as a coach pay off like in a game or in an inter squad. Obviously, the games are coming up, so we'll get to see that. But it's been a great transition. It's been a lot easier than I thought, and the people around here have made it pretty easy for me. So.
And Brandon also will be our first base coach this year. So he will have the hard hat on going over there to be the first base coach during games.
Get a lot of action shots.
Yeah, I'm super excited for that. And I'm excited because I get to be, a part of the pitching staff in a way. And then I kind of get in with the hitters too and learn some stuff from Finny and Hage and Paul. So that's going to be a good mix between the two.
You're going to hear some chirping too, I think, over there at first base with some of the crowds you're going to this
year. Oh, yeah. Put my earmuffs on over there.
There you go. And Ryne, you're making a similar transition, albeit from the pro level coming into college. What has that been like for you on your end, coming in with that pro background?
I would say pretty similar to Pond, just different in the sense of like I kind of cleared the guys that are here now. So like my last year, the following year was like Blake, they're seniors now. That was his freshman year. So I don't really have that overlap. But I think it's been awesome just to come back and like kind of my experience, how awesome it was here to be able to like kind of help those guys through their experience and like try and have them have such a good experience like I did. But it's been awesome. It's been a lot of listening. Finny and Marin, they give us a lot of freedom to like be hands-on with the guys and what we feel like we put into action. But I think it's just been awesome. Like I loved it so far. So
well, that's great.
I really think it's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Gary. I cut Gary off too many times last week, so I want to make sure I wasn't doing that.
You're fine. Please cut me off.
But I was talking to Pond over the summer, and he was telling me he was going to come coach, and I think the same kind of thing applies to you, Ryne. That you both had you had interesting kind of up and down careers that you really have a lot you can draw from to help coach guys. Brandon played D1, played D3. He won a national championship. Also had arm injuries. You were both a hitter and a pitcher. Ryne, you were at ODU, the one school the whole time, but you also, kind of struggled a lot in the beginning, and you had to work your ass off to become successful and become professional. I mean, you both have a lot you can draw from. Do you feel like that is going to help you out as you try to move forward with your coaching careers?
Go ahead, Bonner.
Yeah, definitely. I think, going through some of the stuff I went through, seeing different levels of baseball, man, that's why I'm doing this, I think. And, through those arm injuries or through the arm injury that I did have when I was out for a whole season, that's where I kind of found the love to want to coach. And, I'm handling a lot of the rehab stuff, guys who've had TJ, and that's just been so rewarding to watch them, slowly work through this process. And I feel a lot of my similarities of what I went through in them. And, that's been a big part of this. So I'm excited, for that part of it too. So.
Yeah, I think going through, as much as it sucked at the time, going through the whole TJ process, like it helps relate a little bit more to guys that are coming back from that, or even have little like flare-ups that aren't as serious, but they still have to go through the whole process of, shutting down for a few weeks, the whole build-up, like that whole mental side of of getting back to getting on the field, and just knowing that the process we're giving them and Ponder's giving them is the best way for them to get back on the field. I think that's been super helpful even my freshman year at Old Dominion, like Finny knows, like I was not great, and he basically told me that he would find a JUCO for me to go to, and I just this was home to me, so like I knew I wanted to play here, and like just even I don't know guys that aren't getting time and guys that are the guys for us, like just being able to see both sides of that and help guys work through that is valuable to me.
I think it's been an important part of the culture for this program for quite a while now. Of you have those guys that are willing to stay and build and grow and learn, and it's paid some dividends for us in the long run. I think Coach Finny might agree with that. I don't know.
Yeah, and it gets more difficult every year that this environment we're thrust into, which is just the geographical fix is everything. It's not working out here, I'll go somewhere else, and it doesn't always work out there either, but sometimes it does. And so there's good and bad parts of the portal. We have got some good players in the portal. We've had some good players leaving the portal. It's just the way it's going to be. I prefer a guy to stick it out and work his way through the tough stuff. Guys like Kyle Edwards, who didn't play, a ton as a freshman, a little bit because of injuries, and then didn't play much at all till the very end of the year, sophomore year. Those are the kind of guys that have a tendency to go someplace else and play. And Kyle wanted to be here. He wanted to be a good player here. And, he's been willing to fight through all of it. And, he's one of our captains this year. So those are nice wins to see when kids do that. And, especially the local kids. That's a lot. It's very gratifying to see some of these seniors that have been through some stuff and they've stuck it out and are going to graduate and hopefully help us have a good season.
Yeah, and Paul, you're bringing a little bit different experience. You've been an assistant before, William and Mary, Iona, played at Canisius. Obviously, baseball's in your blood and in your family. But what was the adjustment like for you coming down from William and Mary to ODU this offseason?
Well, Finny was awesome from the jump, and having Mike and Hage, I've known Mike for forever, and getting to know Hage, and the adjustment's been easy because they're easy, right? It's kind of about the people you work with and kind of those relationships, and and honestly, it makes it easy because my wife has 2 other wives and my 2 little kids, and Mike's got 3 and Hage has 3, right? So it's kind of become a family atmosphere. Like I'll be honest, the other day my son got kicked out of daycare for taking off the clothes. Okay, so now what? Well, my wife ran her up to school. He watched me do practice, didn't miss a beat, right? And not every head coach would be okay with that, right? So, and that's kind of what's made the transition easy, right? Changing schools, you got to get to know guys and how systems work, but when the people are as awesome as they are here, it just makes everything so much easier.
And before the season even started, you already had some recruiting success. You've had a couple of the JUCO guys that you have got committed, both hit home runs their first weekend.
Yeah, well, it's always good. It's kind of the ebbs and the flows, some of the ups and downs, but we just hope that we want all of our guys coming in to have success and be part of winning programs, right? Because we expect them to win here, right? And so you want them to be successful and win wherever they are. So.
Especially when you're the one that recruited them. I got it.
Hey, but I don't like. It's funny. It's funny guys say that because some guys take the me. Whose guy is it? They're ours, right? They're Monarchs. It doesn't matter whether it was me. Ponder could have brought a kid. It doesn't matter who it is, right? They're Monarchs. They're ours. They're our boys. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, and we try to take more of a community approach to the recruiting process. I think Paul and Hage on the hitter side, obviously they do a lot more of the day-to-day work than I do, but we all try to get involved and talk to these kids during the process, just because I think the more we're able to do that, the more they're able to get a feel for us as a group and what we're about. And I think that's very helpful. And for kids that want that experience, some people don't. I mean, you come into our office at any one day, man, there might be 4 kids, there might be 3 golden retrievers, who knows what in there. It's like a fire station right now, but it's a family environment. I mean, coaches long hours, being the wife of a coach is long hours. I always believe that we need to do whatever we can to support our people and encourage that, because that creates the comfortability to do your job well. And that familiarity and that ability to say, I got to bring the kids today, my wife's sick or whatever, like, we'll figure it out. Like, there ain't nothing going on at a baseball practice that we can't work around and figure out. And that's just the way I think it's best to do this thing. So the guys know what they have to do. They do their jobs real well. You know, Ryne and Brandon brought up, like, we want to give guys the freedom to, you know, to do things, and we talk about it, but also, you know, we want to teach them. It's our job to teach them, you know, things through our experience, but also they're teaching us stuff. And so it's really cool. You know, I've learned more than I want to know about analytics and things like that. So sometimes they start going and my eyes get crossed and I go get a cup of coffee. I know they're important and they're good at it, so I'll let them do it and tell me what's going on.
All right. Well, what am I forgetting to ask, Finny? What's or CB?
Georgia Tech a little bit. I think some of the people listening may want to hear a little bit about them, and maybe Paul and Brandon can talk about, you know, the starting pitchers, and then maybe, you know, a couple of their hitters that are back. They're a good team. They were in the regional last year, and they're always a very strong program.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll run down kind of the weekend starters, right? So, Tate McKee, who started a bunch of games for them last year, right, as a freshman, you know, he's back in rotation. He'll start on Friday night. It'll be a good low mid-90s fastball, little slider, right? So on Saturday, it'll be Brady Jones. He's a transfer in from Georgia State.
Who we faced last year at Georgia State.
Yeah. Right. So, so there's a little familiarity for some of the guys, right? You know, good breaking ball, good fastball at the top of the zone. Then on Sunday, it'll be TBD or most likely Riley Stanford. Again, another good fastball, old country hardball type of weekend, right? You got guys that can throw it a little bit, and the boys got to be ready to go in the box.
Yeah, they're typically a good team. I know last year, I think, like you said, they went to the regional. I think they lost their first game and ended up battling back to win 2, and then I think got knocked out by Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, they won 33 games last year. They went even 500 in the ACC. That's not exactly an easy feat to accomplish there.
No, Coach Hall's been there for a long time. He's got a bunch of wins. He's a good coach. They'll be well prepared. And, you know, last time we went down there, it's funny, I was talking to their radio guy yesterday, doing a Zoom with them, you know, preceding the series. And he said, man, I remember the last time you guys were here was 2014. And I was an intern helping run the scoreboard.
Wow.
Ryan Yarborough was on the mound, and I think we got a hit in the 8th, end up beating y'all, and it was a good game, and so that was kind of cool. And so that's 2014 was the last time we've been down there.
Yeah, Georgia Tech has a storied program of announcers. They have a really good baseball announcing program and lineage.
Oh, I didn't know that. Hey, on that,
I didn't know that until we're down there.
This is cool. Josh Carey is doing our Friday and Sunday games on the radio, who is the grandson of Harry Carey and the son of Skip Carey, who we all.
My mom's going to love that.
Grew up listening to Skip Carey and Ernie Johnson, right, on TBS with the Braves. And he lives in I think Birmingham. He's driving over and then he's doing our series at Auburn as well. So Yeah, I found that out the other day. I thought that was super interesting.
Wait, so it's Chip's brother or is it Chip's son?
It's Chip's son. It's Chip or Skip's son.
Yeah, I was gonna say because
but-
that'd be Harry Carey's great grandson.
Yeah. So I think it's Skip's. Maybe it's Skip's son.
That got me feeling old really fast there.
Yeah.
Great grandson.
Yeah. So I'll get a chance to meet him this weekend, and that'll be good.
Yeah, Georgia Tech seemed like a team that could definitely put up some runs last year too. I mean, they faced a lot of good ACC pitching, but there's some double-digit scores that they had. What can we expect from the offensive side of the ball for them? Any key guys returning?
So their offense runs through their sophomore Drew Burris. I mean, he had over 25 jacks last year and had an unbelievable freshman campaign. Now they lost a good chunk of their thump, but again, we expect them to reload. They got a couple transfers in and a couple really good freshmen. You know that obviously when you see kids on the recruiting stage, right? Like, oh, okay, that kid's going to Georgia Tech, and when you start seeing them on the roster, you start remembering some guys, right? So they got some really talented freshmen. So and a couple transfers in. So expect that same lineup and some of that same thump, just different faces, right? But like I said, everything kind of runs through Drew Burris. So
I literally just got a text from my friend. He's like, "That Drew Burris kid's supposed to be good." I was like, "All right."
Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah.
What would you do without our scouting report here?
That one would have caught us completely by surprise. Now we know.
This guy hitting cleanup for him is good. I don't understand.
Well, it's an offensive park typically too, so depend on obviously everything depends on the wind, but it's usually a pretty good hitter's park.
Yeah, well, hopefully it just changes between half innings. Blows in when we're pitching, turns around and goes out when we're at bat. Like
it's like Toronto.
Yes, exactly.
Well, speaking of a lineup, Finny, I know I asked you the other day if you thought you knew your lineup. Now since we're like 46 hours away, by the time people hear this, it's already Thursday morning. Game is tomorrow. Do you feel okay with sharing the opening day lineup? You still want that to be you don't have to.
Well, no, I appreciate you saying that because absolutely not. I don't feel okay about it.
Sure. Okay. There you go.
Yeah. I love you guys, but I would never do that before the guys got to see it.
Yeah, that's fine. Hey.
Yeah, but we're going to play a number of guys, and having said that, we do need to start settling into some spots positionally, so guys can get comfortable there. And I expect Tyler Zadalis is going to play third base this weekend. I want him to get comfortable over there. Maverick Stallings is going to be back at second. And so, first base will depend. Obviously, Kyle's going to be at short. Luke and Kanan are going to be in the outfield, and then TJ and Scotty and Ryan Thomas will probably be out there some as well. And Evan will be behind home plate Friday and Sunday, and Jack Slater will probably be behind home plate on Saturday. So that gives you a little shell of it anyway.
That's pretty great. I mean, that was it.
Yeah, we're gonna go with Moore and Brown and Morgan on the 3 days for the starters. So, the bullpen's the thing, like we talked about. That's going to take us a few weeks to figure out. We got to get them out there, see who can do what, and what guys fit best into what roles. And that's what the first month of the season, I think, is about for us this year. Every year is a different journey, but this year for us, that's what it's about. And last year, for instance, John Hollabeth started the first 4 Fridays and was very pedestrian. And then we started dumping him into the game in the third inning, and he was awesome the rest of the year. So you have to play to figure some of these things out. And we hope that, our starters will be the strength of our team. And I think obviously if those guys can get deeper into games, that changes the amount of innings that you have to have out of the bullpen. And so that's going to be the plan. That's not going to happen the first weekend or couple weekends because they've got to work their way into doing that too, and we're not going to kill guys, opening weekend of the season for sure. So more guys pitch out of the bullpen, the first month, and then that starts kind of trimming its way down as the weather warms up and the season progresses.
Yeah, I would imagine we probably wouldn't see either team stretch their starters too much here in the opening weekend, because I imagine, similar to you, that Georgia Tech's trying to see what they have in their bullpen as well, and different situational spots to get guys in.
Yeah, and that's kind of part of the strategy. Like let's not chase a bunch of balls, because if we get the starter's pitch count up, he's going to be out of there sooner rather than later, and then you can get to some of the bullpen guys and see what kind of success you can have there as well.
Yeah, I definitely think it's gonna be interesting to look in about when the Southern Miss series, when you're about week 5 starting the conference, and then about the week 6 of conference, where we are with the lineup and the rotation and the bullpen compared to the first weekend. I always think it's a little interesting to kind of see how things progress throughout the year, because like I said, it's never the same. I'd be shocked if any team ever has it. Whether performance, injury, whatever happens, it just things change.
Yep. There's no doubt, and some guys go this way when you start playing somebody else, and some guys go that way, and you don't know that. I mean, no matter how many scrimmages you play, or inter squads, or practice games in the fall, whatever it is, it's different when that other team's out there and their unis, and it's for real. It's just a different feeling, and you got to get used to it, and the guys got to learn how to flourish with it.
I got to get that little fire of someone chirping you a little bit from the dugout, and you get a little crowd amping you up. I hope it's good weather. I hope that there's a good crowd out there, because you'll definitely experience some good ones on the road this season.
Looks like mid-50s Friday and sunny, and then the 60s Saturday and Sunday. Change of showers, but they feel like we're going to get all 3 games in and not have to play a doubleheader as of today. So hopefully that won't change. The older you get, the less you want those doubleheaders, man. So, one game's plenty. Let's go get some food. That's the way I look at it.
Do they have a natural playing surface, or are they turf?
They do.
There?
They've got natural, and it's beautiful typically. I mean, it's one of the nicest surfaces. When I was at Auburn, we would play Georgia Tech every year, home and home, and whenever we would go over there, I mean, it looked like you could eat off that grass. It's just perfect, and it's just immaculate. It drains well. It plays great. It's going to be, very nice playing surface.
Fantastic. Well, I know you all fly out tomorrow. CB, you got one more?
I just want, we got Pond and Ryne, as you're about to put on uniforms as coaches for the first time. Officially the playing days are done now. I was wondering if you could both look back, like what do you think the highlight of your time playing baseball was? Obviously your baseball careers are not done. I think you're both going to be able to do this as long as you want, but what do you think the highlight of your playing days was?
I would probably say, that run we went on in 21, just like being a part of that team and throwing that game at South Carolina, that was probably the highlight of mine. I felt like I threw 121 pitches. I felt like I could have thrown all night. Like that was just the best experience probably for me.
Yeah, that was an amazing game. That's one I'm definitely between you and Doc Holliday there. That was pretty phenomenal.
For me, obviously, it's easy for me to say the national championship. That's got to be the coolest moment of my life. But getting to play here, and getting to live my dream of playing Division I baseball, just being here the whole year last year was a dream come true. And
Stuck up.
that no, I'm serious. Like, and then pitching against UVA at Harbor Park, like UVA was that game was awesome. Like the crowd, like that was the most people I've ever pitched in front of, and just being able to be the starter for that game, like. The national championship and that game probably are the 2 biggest, coolest games in my career for sure. So.
That's great.
That is awesome. Those are 2 of my more favorite moments probably in the last 5 years as well, is that regional down in South Carolina and beating UVA last season. Hopefully we get some more chances to win some games in Harbor Park this year. I know we've got a couple series that are going to be there. That's going to be a lot of fun, especially.
We better win more than one.
Yeah, we better.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate all of you hopping on with us today and kind of giving us a rundown here. This is a really cool experience for us, fans that are out there listening. We appreciate you listening and tuning in. We see you. Click over there to YouTube and get your downloads on Spotify and all that good stuff. We're going to continue to bring you content like this throughout the season. Coach Finny may be a little more regular appearance. We'll have some other guys on here as well. But you guys travel safe down to Atlanta. We'll be watching. It's on ESPN Plus for those of you that haven't or not paying attention to the ticker down there on the bottom. Get all 3 games. So we wish the best of luck down there. We'll be watching, cheering you on.
Hey, Gary, is it on Plus or is it ACC Network? Or will Plus pick up that feed?
Yeah, so it's ACC Network X, which they stream those on ESPN Plus. And I went on there before we started recording, just to make sure, because it was a little funky last year, but they already had the shell for all 3 weekend games up there and ready to go.
That's awesome. That's good to know. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I will be in person watching. I'm flying down Friday, so I'm going to be there. And I'm excited.
Go.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
He'll give you the up close and personal, notebook on the weekend, and next week when we meet, we'll have a rundown on that weekend and a preview of Charlotte.
Yes, and we expect at least one wild story from the road trip or flight down from either CB or the team, whatever you're willing to disclose there.
Yeah, hopefully, hopefully no crazy stories on the travel. We'll stay away from those, but we'll talk about the food and the hotels and all the fun stuff. So preview the uniforms before we leave. We're wearing all navy Friday, all gray, including a new gray hat on Saturday. We're going to be the gray men. And
do they match this time?
They do match, yeah. Hudson blue on Sunday. So
nice.
I think they're wearing cream, white, and gold. So no conflicts on the jersey.
Hudson on Sunday, love it.
Yep.
Yeah, always.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us, guys. Appreciate the time.
Appreciate everybody being here. Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yep. Thank you, and go Monarchs.
Go Monarchs.